The night pressed down on the small town, heavy and humid. The scent of jasmine mingled with a feral metallic tang that made Caetano's nostrils twitch. He knew this scent. It was the odor of fear, of desperation, of a darkness that had taken root in a place where it didn't belong. Gossip, always eager in such close quarters, spread rumors of a family in crisis, a home invaded by something sinister. Caetano, a man who had dedicated his life to comforting the afflicted, felt a chill deeper than the tropical night. Over 2 decades of service had steeled him for many things, but as he navigated the narrow, cobbled streets, the weight of this impending encounter pressed down on him, heavy as the humidity. He fingered the rosary beads tucked into his cassock pocket, their smooth texture a familiar comfort. Caetano had long understood that evil wore many faces, seducing the desperate heart, feeding on jealousy, betrayal, and greed. But lately the shadows themselves seemed to stir with a primal dread. Tales of a Lobisomem, a werewolf, circulated, stories of a creature that stalked the night, its howls echoing through the streets. The old folklore, once dismissed as superstition, now clung to the humid air, a palpable manifestation of the town's growing fear. He found the boy waiting for him at the crossroads, a small figure swallowed by the encroaching darkness. "Father, could you help my father?" The child pleaded, his voice barely a whisper. Caetano felt a surge of protectiveness, a familiar call to action. He placed his hand on the boy's head, offering a silent prayer for strength and guidance. The house was small, with peeling paint and a rusting tin roof. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of sickness and despair, a miasma that clung to Caetano's cassock and invaded his nostrils. He noted the mother's swollen eyes, the haunted expressions of the children huddled in the corner. One child, a girl with eyes that shone with an almost unnatural light, clutched a worn doll. Caetano felt an odd sense of peace emanating from her, a tiny beacon in the oppressive gloom. Candlelight flickered, casting long shadows on the walls that danced with grotesque shapes. A low growl, guttural and menacing, emanated from behind a locked door. A faint scent of damp fur mingled with the other odors, raising the hairs on the back of Caetano's neck.
He made a pact, Father.
The mother whispered, her voice raw with grief.
A pact with the darkness, to save our farm. But the price was too high.
Caetano's stomach tightened. He knew the stories, the whispers of deals struck with entities that walked between the worlds. He knew the cost of such bargains, the terrible price paid for fleeting gains. The doorknob was icy cold beneath his touch, and a wave of oppressive dread washed over him. He fought back the urge to retreat, to seek the solace of the familiar prayers and rituals that had always been his shield. Steeling himself, he turned the knob. The door wouldn't budge. A guttural voice snarled from within.
"You are not welcome here, priest. This soul is mine."
Caetano felt a tremor of fear, but he pressed against the door, reciting a prayer of protection, his voice echoing off the walls, a fragile defense against the encroaching darkness. With a sudden crash, the door burst open, and he stumbled into the room. The sight inside was horrifying. The father lay on the floor, his body contorting in ways that defied human anatomy. A stench of decay filled the air. His limbs jerked and twisted, his nails elongated into claws, and patches of coarse hair sprouted unnaturally across his body. Caetano's breath caught in his throat, and he fought back the nausea that threatened to overwhelm him. He had seen possession before, but never like this. This was something ancient, something primal. As Caetano stepped closer, the boy who had brought him there appeared behind him, his small hand gripping his cassock. He urged the mother to keep the children away, but the girl with the luminous eyes stepped forward.
"It's all right, Father,"
she said, her voice strangely calm.
"I see this every night."
Caetano felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this child, with her unwavering innocence, held the key to breaking the demon's hold. The father's twisted form moved unnaturally, his eyes glowing faintly with an amber light. Then he spoke in a voice not his own, one that was guttural and alien.
"Yeah, you will never be able to remove this man. He sought me out. Do you understand? I did not inhabit this body of my own accord. I was invited into this empty vessel. This man failed to fulfill the pact we made. Now, he will soon surrender his soul to me. His soul will burn in hell, and his body will serve me on this earth, doing my bidding.
The demon's words were followed by a chilling laugh as the father's form convulsed violently, his shape flickering between human and something monstrous. That night, Caetano began his arduous battle, the taste of sacramental wine lingering on his tongue, a reminder of the sacred duty he had undertaken. He prayed fervently, his voice a beacon of hope against the encroaching darkness. But the demon was powerful, and it fought back with insidious cunning. It conjured visions of Caetano's past failures, whispering doubts about his faith and his worthiness. It tempted him with promises of power and forbidden knowledge, seeking to corrupt his soul. And when these tactics failed, it unleashed its fury, the room shaking with unseen force as objects hurled themselves at the priest. Night after night, the struggle continued. The man's body grew weaker, ravaged by the demonic presence. Caetano too felt the toll. Exhaustion gnawed at him, his appetite vanished, and sleep offered no escape, haunted by nightmares of twisted faces and glowing eyes. Doubts gnawed at him. Was he strong enough? Was his faith enough to overcome this evil? Then on the fifth night, as the full moon bathed the town in an eerie silver light, a new terror emerged. The possessed father, his form shifting and twisting, broke free of his restraints and leaped through the window, shattering the glass. He landed on the cobblestones below, his body transforming into that of a monstrous wolf, the Lobisomem of the town's whispered fears. Caetano, adrenaline overriding his exhaustion, raced after the creature, his heart pounding. Claws scraped against cobblestones, sending sparks flying. The werewolf's howls echoed through the narrow streets, mingling with the terrified cries of those who witnessed its passage. Caetano, his breath ragged, stumbled, the stench of the beast thick in the air. He scrambled up, his cassock tearing free from a wrought iron fence. He had to stop this creature, not just for the man's soul, but for the safety of the town. They reached the town square. The creature, cornered and enraged, turned to face Caetano. Moonlight glinted off its fangs. Its eyes burned with malevolent fire. The final confrontation was a desperate struggle of faith against primal fury. Caetano, drawing on the last reserves of his strength, battled the werewolf, his prayers a weapon against the creature's snarls. He faltered, his hope fading. Then he saw her, the girl with the luminous eyes, standing at the edge of the square, her small form radiating an unwavering belief. He realized then that she was more than just a witness. She was a conduit of faith, her presence weakening the demon's hold. With renewed determination, Caetano focused his prayers, channeling the girl's unwavering belief. The werewolf's form flickered, the demonic power waning. With a final agonizing howl, the creature collapsed, transforming back into the weakened form of the father. Exhausted but triumphant, Caetano knelt beside the man, offering prayers of healing and restoration. The darkness had been banished, and the family, reunited, wept tears of relief and gratitude. But even as he celebrated this victory, Caetano knew that the scars of this encounter would linger, both on the family and on his own soul. That night, as he finally succumbed to sleep, the images of the possession returned. The contorted limbs, the glowing eyes, the guttural snarls. He woke in a cold sweat, the sheets twisted around him like a shroud. The scent of damp fur lingered in his nostrils, and the echoes of the werewolf's howls reverberated in his ears. Through these nights of relentless prayer and confrontation, Caetano's faith had been pushed to its limits. Yet it was his unwavering belief, amplified by the innocent faith of a child, that ultimately banished the darkness threatening to consume the family, leaving behind a story of resilience and the enduring power of faith. But it was a victory hard won. This story, adapted from Caetano's account originally shared on the NS Occulto YouTube channel, demonstrates how the everyday can be a battleground for forces beyond our understanding, where faith and fear collide, and the line between man and monster is drawn by choices made in the darkest hours. If you've encountered the unexplainable or faced the darkness yourself, DeadNet Studios is here to bring your story to light. Share your encounter at deadnetstudios@gmail.com. And together, let us unveil the shadows where truth and terror meet.
In the shadows of the digital night, We've wandered far